came at 3 a.m. Kang Jin-woo stared at his phone, the screen illuminating his face in the dark penthouse. Unknown number. Seoul area code. He almost didn't answer. Almost. Mr. Kang? A woman's voice, professional, tense. This is Seoul National University Hospital. Your wife. Ex-wife, Jin-woo corrected, his voice cold, despite his heart suddenly hammering. Your ex-wife, Zainab Kang, was admitted 2 hours ago. She's in labor. There are complications. She listed you as emergency contact. The phone nearly slipped from his hand. Labor, baby, complications. The child he'd rejected, the woman he'd thrown away. 8 months of silence, and now I'm on my way. He was already moving, grabbing his jacket, his keys, his gun, because in his world, hospitals weren't always safe. Jin-woo burst through Seoul National University Hospital doors like a man possessed. Zainab Kang, where is she? The nurse at reception looked up, startled. Labor and delivery, 4th floor, but sir, only family. I'm her husband. Ex-husband, the nurse corrected, checking her computer. She noted that specifically. Your emergency contact, but she doesn't want. Jin-woo was already running. 4th floor. Labor and delivery. He followed the sounds of pain and medical equipment until he found her room and stopped. Through the window, he could see her. Zainab. His Zainab. Lying in a hospital bed, face twisted in pain. Nurses surrounding her, machines beeping urgently. Blood pressure dropping. Get the doctor now. Baby's in distress. Jin-woo's hands hit the door. A nurse blocked him. Sir, you can't. That's my wife. My baby. His voice broke. Please. She specifically said, I don't care what she said. Jin-woo's control shattered. That's my child in there, and if something happens to either of them. The nurse hesitated, then went inside. Spoke to Zainab. Through the window, Jin-woo saw Zainab's face turn toward him, saw her eyes widen, saw her mouth form his name. Then she screamed, we need to do an emergency C-section. Prep or 3. Sir, you need to step back. They wheeled her past him, and for one brief second their eyes met. Hers were filled with pain, fear, and something that looked like hate. Jin-woo, she gasped. If I die. You're not going to die. If I die, promise me. Another scream cut her off. Then she was gone, disappearing behind surgical doors. Jin-woo collapsed against the wall, his hands shaking, his heart shattering. 2 hours felt like 2 lifetimes. Jin-woo paced the waiting room like a caged animal. Couldn't sit, couldn't think, just waited. Finally, a doctor emerged, tired but smiling. Mr. Kang, you have a daughter. Both mother and baby are stable. Jin-woo's legs gave out. A daughter. He had a daughter. Can I see them? Mrs. Kang needs rest, but yes, follow me. The recovery room was quiet. Zainab lay in the bed, eyes closed, looking fragile and exhausted. And in her arms, Jin-woo forgot how to breathe. A tiny bundle, dark skin, a shock of black hair, perfect little fingers wrapped around Zainab's thumb. His daughter. He approached slowly, like approaching something holy. Zainab, he whispered. Her eyes opened, looked at him with such cold fury it felt like a physical blow. Get out. I wanted to see. You wanted to see? Her voice was raw from screaming. You threw us away, called me a liar, said this baby wasn't yours, and now you want to see her? I was wrong. Jin-woo's voice broke. God, Zainab, I was so wrong. My mother lied. The test was falsified. I don't care. Tears streamed down her face. You made your choice. You broke me. You threw me away when I needed you most, and now you think you can just walk back in? I know I don't deserve. You deserve nothing. Her arms tightened around the baby. This is my daughter. Mine. You lost your chance. Please. Jin-woo dropped to his knees beside the bed. Please, Zainab, I'll do anything. I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you. Just don't take her from me. I can't. He couldn't finish. Just broke. Zainab watched him cry, this powerful man reduced to nothing, and felt her heart crack. Her name is Ife, she said quietly. It means love in Yoruba, because she's the only love I have left in this world. Jin-woo looked up, his face wet. It's beautiful. You can see her, Zainab continued, her voice hard, but you don't get me. You don't get forgiveness. You don't get to walk back into my life like nothing happened. I understand. Do you? She laughed bitterly. Do you understand what it's like to be thrown away while pregnant? To work 3 jobs to survive? To go into labor alone in a foreign country? Do you? No, but I want to. Get out! Her scream startled the baby, who began to cry. Jin-woo stood, backed away, his heart in pieces. At the door, he stopped. I'll prove it to you, he said quietly. I'll prove I've changed, that I'm worthy of you, of her, even if it takes the rest of my life." Then he left, and Zainab held her crying daughter and cried with her. But to understand how they got here, to this moment of shattered hearts and a newborn caught between parents who destroyed each other, we need to go back. Back to where it all started. Back to the moment Zainab Ojora's father sold her like livestock to pay a debt he'd never intended to repay. 9 months earlier, Zainab had stood in Kang Jin-woo's study in Seoul, staring at a man she'd never met, holding a contract with her name on it. Not as witness, not as signatory, as collateral. But even that wasn't the beginning. The real beginning was 3 months before that, when the slap had echoed through the marble hallway of the Kang family compound. Zainab's head snapped to the side, her cheek burning, blood filling her mouth where her teeth cut her lip. She didn't cry out, didn't give them the satisfaction. "You clumsy bitch!" The woman, Jin-woo's aunt, Madame Kang, stood over her, dripping with the tea Zainab had just spilled. "Do you know how much this hanbok cost?" Zainab kept her eyes down, her jaw clenched. "I apologize." "You apologize?" The aunt laughed, cruel and sharp. "Your father sold you like the worthless trash you are, and you think sorry fixes anything? Your property, girl. Bought goods. The only reason you're still breathing is because my nephew paid for you." Behind her, the household staff watched, some with pity, most with indifference. This was entertainment. The Yoruba girl getting put in her place. "That's enough." A voice cut through the hall. Deep, cold, absolute. Kang Jin-woo stood at the top of the stairs in a black suit, his expression carved from stone. He descended slowly, each step deliberate, and the entire room held its breath. "She spilled tea on me," the aunt protested. She needs to learn nothing from you." Jin-woo stopped in front of Zainab, his eyes on his aunt. "Touch her again and I'll forget your family." The threat hung in the air like smoke. The aunt's face went red, but she bowed and left. The staff scattered. Jin-woo looked down at Zainab still kneeling on the floor, blood on her lip, hatred burning in her eyes. "Get up," he said quietly. She stood, spine straight despite everything. "My office, now." Jin-woo's office was cold, always cold, like the man himself. Zainab stood before his desk, her hands clenched at her sides, her split lip throbbing. She'd been in this house for 3 weeks, 3 weeks of hell. Jin-woo poured whiskey into 2 glasses, slid one across the desk toward her. "Drink." "I don't want." It wasn't a suggestion. Zainab grabbed the glass and drank. The whiskey burned, but not as much as her pride. Jin-woo leaned against his desk, studying her. "You spilled tea on my aunt on purpose." It wasn't a question. "Yes," Zainab said. "Why?" "Because she's a bitch." The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. "She called me a slave yesterday," Zainab continued, her voice steady despite the rage shaking through her. "Said my kind should be grateful to serve their betters. That my father did the world a favor by getting rid of me. So yes, I spilled boiling tea on her overpriced dress. And I'd do it again." Silence. Then Jin-woo laughed, a dark, unexpected sound. "You're either very brave or very stupid." "I'm done being treated like garbage in this house," Zainab said. "You bought me. Fine. That's the reality. But I'm not going to bow and scrape for people who think I'm beneath them because of where I'm from." "No," Jin-woo said quietly. "You're going to bow and scrape because that's what keeps you alive." He moved closer. "Do you know what my family does? What business we're in?" "Crime, obviously. We own people. We break them. We make examples out of the ones who resist." He was very close now. "My aunt wanted me to punish you, publicly. Make you kneel in front of the entire household and apologize until you meant it." Zainab's pulse hammered. "And will you?" "No." Jin-woo reached out, his thumb brushing her split lip. The touch was gentle, at odds with everything else about him. "Because you're right. She is a bitch, and I enjoyed watching you humiliate her." Zainab's breath caught. "But understand this, Zainab Ojora." His hand moved to her jaw, tilting her face up. "In public, you're my devoted wife. You smile. You obey. You make me look good. In private?" His grip tightened slightly. "In private, you can hate me all you want, but you will survive because I didn't pay $2.3 million to watch you destroy yourself out of pride." "Why do you care? I'm just property to you. Property I own." His voice was soft, dangerous, "and I take care of what's mine." He released her, stepped back. "There's a gala tomorrow night. You'll attend with me. Mrs. Park will prepare you. Wear the red dress." "And if I refuse?" Jin-woo's smile was a blade. "Then I'll let my aunt have you. See how long your defiance lasts then." Zainab turned to leave. Zainab. She stopped, didn't look back. You asked why I care. The truth? I don't know yet. But you're the first interesting thing to happen to me in years. Don't disappoint me. That conversation happened 3 weeks into their forced marriage. 3 weeks after her father had signed papers trading his daughter to settle gambling debts accumulated in underground casinos from Lagos to London. 3 weeks after Zainab Ojora, PhD candidate in international relations at LSE, had her entire life stripped away because her father valued cards and mistresses more than his own child. She'd arrived in Seoul with one suitcase and a heart full of rage. Met Jin-woo in his study that first night, this beautiful cold man who'd purchased her like furniture. Your father borrowed money from my organization, Jin-woo had said, not even looking up from his work. $2.3 million over 3 years. He claimed business investments. It was gambling, mistresses, and a lifestyle he couldn't afford. When payment came due, he had nothing. No assets, no collateral, nothing except you. So you took me. I took what was offered. I'm not a thing to be offered. Zainab's control had cracked. I'm a person. I have a life, a career, a future. Had, Jin-woo corrected quietly. Past tense. That life is over. This is your life now. The words had hit like a slap. What do you want from me? She'd asked. Exactly. Jin-woo had leaned back in his chair. Compliance. Obedience. You'll live here. Follow the rules. Fulfill certain obligations. Obligations. Zainab's stomach had turned. You mean, not that, he'd cut her off. Something sharp in his tone. I'm not interested in unwilling women. Your father's debt makes you my responsibility, not my whore. The vulgarity had shocked her, but the certainty in his voice had shocked her more. Then what? You'll be my wife. Publicly. We'll attend events together. Play devoted spouses. My organization requires a certain image. A wife provides legitimacy. A fake wife. A legal one. He'd slid papers across the desk. Marriage contract. Already prepared. You'll sign it tomorrow. And if I refuse? Jin-woo's smile had been ice. Your father's debt transfers to you, with interest and penalties. Last I calculated, you'd owe roughly $4 million. How's your credit? Checkmate. She'd signed the papers the next day, became Mrs. Kang in a ceremony that felt like a funeral, moved into his cold, beautiful house, and learned to survive among people who saw her as nothing. But something had shifted over those first 3 months. In the late nights when Jin-woo worked and she couldn't sleep, they'd talk. About politics, about the ugliness of their respective worlds, about the masks they both wore. She'd seen the exhaustion in his eyes, the weight of an empire he never wanted, the guilt that ate at him for crimes committed in his family's name. And he'd seen her strength, her refusal to break, the fire that burned in her even when everyone tried to extinguish it. The night it happened, they'd been arguing about something stupid. She couldn't even remember what. Jin-woo had been drinking. Too much whiskey, too much stress. She'd challenged him on something, gotten under his skin. The argument had turned into something else, something desperate and hungry and real. She'd kissed him first, or maybe he'd kissed her. It didn't matter. They'd collided like natural disasters, all need and violence and a connection neither wanted to name. Afterwards, he'd left before she woke up. Left a note. Last night was a mistake. It won't happen again. But the damage was done. The child was conceived. 6 weeks later, Zainab had stared at 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test and known her world was about to end. When she'd told Jin-woo, his face had gone cold. Empty. Get rid of it, he'd said. What? Schedule an appointment. I'll pay. This doesn't happen. I'm not getting an abortion. Then you're stupider than I thought. He'd turned away. A child makes you weak in this world. Makes you a target. I won't allow it. You won't allow it? This is my body. You're mine, remember? Bought and paid for. That was the first crack. Then his mother had gotten involved. Whispered poison in his ear. Brought him falsified paternity test results. Convinced him Zainab had been pregnant before arriving in Seoul, that she was trying to trap him with another man's child. Jin-woo, too damaged and broken to trust anything good, had believed it. 2 weeks later, he'd drawn up divorce papers. Sign it. Zainab had stared at the papers, her world shattering. Jin-woo, please. There's nothing to discuss. His back was to her. You trapped me, got pregnant on purpose. I won't be manipulated. I didn't trap you. It was an accident. An accident. He'd laughed, bitter. How convenient. Your father's debt is almost paid, and suddenly you're pregnant with an heir. It's your baby, is it? He'd turned, his eyes dead. My mother had the doctor run tests. The timing doesn't match. You were already pregnant when you arrived. That's a lie. I know you're a good actress. He'd thrown the medical reports at her. My family is convinced you're trying to pass off another man's child as mine. And I don't care either way. I don't want children. I don't want this marriage. I want you gone. Where will I go? I have nothing. Here. He'd pulled out a check. 5 million won. Take it and disappear. 5 million? You paid $2.3 million for me, and you're throwing me away with 5 million won? Consider yourself lucky. His jaw had tightened. Sign the papers. Leave tonight. I never want to see you again. Zainab had stood slowly, her whole body shaking. I didn't trap you, she'd said quietly. This baby is yours, and one day you'll realize what you threw away. I hope it destroys you. She'd signed the papers, took the check, and walked out. The flight to London had been endless. Zainab had cried until she had nothing left, spent the first month in shock, the second month angry. By the third month, she'd hardened. She'd survive, for herself, for the baby. She'd worked 3 jobs, cleaned offices at night, waitressed during lunch, tutored international students in the evenings, saved every penny, barely slept, ate 1 meal a day. The baby grew anyway, stubborn, like both its parents. By month 8, she was exhausted, broke, terrified, but still alive, still fighting. Meanwhile, in Seoul, Jin-woo was dying inside. The penthouse became a tomb. He couldn't sleep in their bedroom. Her scent still lingered, couldn't throw away her things, her clothes, her books, her favorite tea, untouched in the kitchen. He drank, worked himself to exhaustion, picked fights. Almost got killed 3 times because he was distracted, reckless. Boss, you look like death, Choi had said one night. Good, that's how I feel. This is about her. Shut up. You threw away your wife and you've been destroying yourself ever since. Why? Because I made a mistake. Jin-woo had exploded because I listened to my mother instead of trusting. He'd stopped. Couldn't finish. By month 6, Jin-woo had hired investigators, found Zainab in London, watched surveillance footage of her working herself to death, pregnant and alone. The guilt crushed him. By month 7, the truth came out. Choi had run his own tests. Vaughn discovered the results were falsified. The baby was Jin-woo's, had always been his. Jin-woo had confronted his mother, cut her off completely, made it clear she'd lost her son the moment she destroyed his family. But it was too late. Zainab wouldn't answer his calls, wouldn't reply to messages, had made it clear through her lawyer she wanted nothing to do with him. So Jin-woo had watched from a distance, paid her rent anonymously, had groceries delivered, kept her safe, loving her from afar because that was all she'd allow. Until 3 a.m. on a Tuesday when his phone rang. Hospital, labor, complications. Now, standing in this recovery room, looking at his daughter for the first time, hearing Zainab tell him to leave, Jin-woo understood the full weight of what he'd destroyed. But he also understood something else. He wasn't giving up. Jin-woo came to the hospital every day after that, brought food Zainab wouldn't eat, flowers she wouldn't look at, apologies she wouldn't accept. You need to leave, she'd say. I will, after I see her. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. He'd stand by the nursery window when she kicked him out, watching Ife sleep. On day 7, a nurse approached him. Mr. Kang, your mother is here, demanding to see the baby. Jin-woo found his mother in the hallway, flanked by lawyers. Mother, leave. I'm here to discuss custody, Madam Kang said coldly. That child is a Kang. She belongs with our family. Finish that sentence and I'll forget you're my mother. You divorced that woman. She has no legal claim. The child has a name. Jinwoo's voice dropped to something lethal. Her name is Ife, and she stays with her mother. If you or anyone tries to take her, I will burn our entire empire to the ground. You're being irrational. I'm being a father. He stepped closer. You lied to me. Falsified results, made me believe Zainab betrayed me. I threw away my wife and child because of your lies. So hear me. You're done. No access to my daughter. No contact with Zainab. If I see you near them again, you're dead to me. Jinwoo, get out. She left. Jinwoo turned to find Zainab in her doorway, Ife in her arms, eyes wide. You just cut off my mother? Yes. He ran a hand through his hair. She was never going to stop. You chose us over your family. I chose what I should have chosen 9 months ago. His voice was raw. I know it doesn't fix anything, but no one will hurt you or Ife. Not my family, not anyone. I'll protect you both, even if you never forgive me. Zainab stared at him, then closed the door. But Jin-woo noticed. She didn't lock it. Progress. Zainab was discharged 2 weeks later. Moved into a flat Jin-woo rented. She'd refused to take it as a gift, so he put it in her name and called it back child support. He visited every evening. Brought supplies. Never stayed longer than allowed. One night, he arrived to chaos. Ife was screaming. Zainab looked like she hadn't slept in days, hands shaking. She won't stop crying, Zainab said, voice breaking. I don't know what's wrong. Let me try. She hesitated, then handed Ife over. Jin-woo held his daughter carefully, swaying gently, humming low. Slowly, Ife's cries quieted. Stopped. She stared up at her father with wide, dark eyes. How did you? I've been reading, Jin-woo admitted. Books on newborns. I wanted to know how to help. Something in Zainab cracked. Sit, she said quietly. I'll make tea. First time she'd invited him to stay. They sat in silence, Ife sleeping on Jin-woo's chest. Why did you come back? Zainab finally asked. The truth, because I'm a coward who destroyed the best thing in his life and spent 8 months realizing it. He didn't look away. Because I love you. Because I've loved you since you told my aunt to fuck off in perfect Korean. Because I was too broken to see it until I'd already lost you. Zainab's hands tightened on her mug. You don't get to say that. I know. You threw me away. I know. You called me a liar, looked at me like I was nothing. I know. His voice cracked, and I'll carry that forever. I can't undo it, but I can spend every day trying to be the man you deserved 9 months ago. Tears streamed down her face. I hate you. I know. I hate that you're good with her. I hate that you're here. I hate that part of me still. She stopped. Still what? Nothing. She stood. You should go. Ife's asleep. Jin-woo transferred Ife to her bassinet. For what it's worth, he said quietly, I hate me too, but I love you more than I hate myself, and I'll prove it, however long it takes. He left. Zainab locked the door and slid to the floor, because the worst part was, she believed him. 2 months into this careful dance, Jin-woo's phone rang at midnight. Unknown number. Russian area code. Who is this? Kang Jin-woo. The voice was cold, accented. You have something that belongs to us. Every muscle tensed. I don't know what you're ass. Zainab Ojora. Her father stole from us. $50 million in evidence. We want it back. Her father is dead, whatever he stole. Then she has it, or knows where it is. Bring her to us and we'll let you live. Refuse. A pause. That's a beautiful baby girl. Ife, yes? Would be a shame if... Jin-woo's gun was already in his hand. Touch my daughter and I'll kill every single one of you. Laughter. Let's see how tough you are when we come for them. The line went dead. Jin-woo was moving. He kicked down Zainab's door at 12:47 a.m. She screamed, grabbed Ife. It's me! Jin-woo held up his hands. It's me. You're in danger. We need to leave now. What? Russian Mafia. They think your father stole from them. They're coming for you and Ife. He grabbed a bag, started packing. We have maybe 10 minutes. Move. My father didn't. I don't care if he did or didn't. They think he did. His voice was raw with fear. Please, Zainab, I can't protect you here. Let me get you somewhere safe. For the first time since he'd returned, Zainab saw real fear in his eyes. Not for himself. For them. Okay. She breathed. They ran. The safe house was in the mountains outside Seoul. Traditional Korean house. Heavily fortified. Guards surrounding the perimeter. Zainab sat with Ife while Jin-woo coordinated security. When he came in, he looked exhausted. We're secure. No one knows this location except Choi and 3 guards I trust with my life. How long do we hide? Until I eliminate the threat. He sat heavily. I've sent people to hunt down the Russians. My father really stole from them, she said quietly. Didn't he? Probably. Jin-woo didn't sugarcoat it. He was good at gambling and making enemies. The question is whether he told you anything. Bank accounts, safety deposit boxes. Nothing. He cut me off after selling me. Her voice broke. He's really dead? Jin-woo nodded. Car accident, 6 months ago. Probably not an accident. They killed him. Likely. Zainab laughed bitterly. So he sold me to pay one debt and created another that could kill me anyway. Hey, Jin-woo moved closer. This isn't your fault. None of it. Not your father's debts, not what I did to you. You're innocent. I don't feel innocent. Tears slipped down her face. I feel like I'm drowning. Then let me pull you out. Why? Why do you care now? Because I love you. Jin-woo's control shattered. Because I've loved you since you spilled tea on my aunt, since you argued with me at 2 a.m., since you touched my scars and didn't flinch. I was falling for you, and it terrified me. So when my mother said you betrayed me, I believed it because it was easier than admitting I was vulnerable. I threw you away to protect myself, and I've regretted it every second since. Silence. Ifei made a small sound. I loved you too, Zainab whispered. That's why it hurt so much. It matters to me. Jin-woo, I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to protect you, to be a father to Ifei, to prove I'm not the man who broke you. His voice was raw. Please. Zainab looked at him and felt something shift. Not forgiveness, but maybe possibility. Okay, she breathed, but you have to earn it every single day. I will. He reached out, and when she didn't pull away, took her hand. I swear on my life, I'll be better. For the first time in months, Zainab let herself hope. Jin-woo's men found the Russian cell 2 weeks later. 7 men operating out of Busan sent to retrieve the stolen property. They have her apartment under surveillance, Choi reported. Jin-woo's smile was cold. Then let's give them what they're waiting for. Zainab stood in her old apartment, heart pounding, wearing a wire. Insane. Suicidal. But Jin-woo had promised, I'll have 20 men surrounding the building, snipers on every roof. Just get them talking. I need confirmation. The door opened. A man walked in, tall, blonde, covered in prison tattoos. Zainab Ojora. His English was thick with accent. We've been looking for you. What do you want? Your father stole 50 million from us, plus evidence. We want it back. I don't have it. I don't know. Liar. He pulled a gun, pressed it to her temple. Your father told us before he died, said he gave you account numbers, a USB drive. Where is it? I don't. Last chance. Tell me or I put a bullet in your head, then go find that baby girl. The window exploded. The Russian's head snapped back, blood sprayed, body dropped. Jin-woo crashed through the door, gun raised, eyes wild. Zainab, I'm fine. Outside, gunfire erupted. An explosion rocked the building. They brought backup, Jin-woo snarled. Choi, status. His earpiece crackled. Buildings surrounded. At least 15 hostiles were pinned. Get her out. Extraction route B. What about you? I'll hold them off. No. Zainab grabbed his arm. I'm not leaving you. Yes, you are. He cupped her face. Ifei needs her mother. If something happens to me, nothing's happening to you. Footsteps pounded up the stairs. Jin-woo kissed her. Hard, fast, tasting like goodbye. I love you. Tell Ifei her father loved her. Go. Now. He pushed her toward Choi at the fire escape, then turned to face the door. Gun raised. Jin-woo killed 4 men in the hallway. Headshots. Clean. Efficient. More came. Always more. He took a bullet to the shoulder, kept firing, another to the leg, dropped to one knee but didn't stop. Boss, south stairwell. They're flanking. Jin-woo threw a grenade. The explosion shook the building. His earpiece crackled. Zainab's secure. En route to safe house. Good. She was safe. Ifei was safe. That's all that mattered. His phone rang. Kang Jin-woo. A different voice. Older. You've killed 7 of my men. I'll kill 70 more if you come near my family again. Your family? The whore and the bastard child? Her name is Zainab. My daughter's name is Ifei. And yes, I'll die 1,000 times for them. Brave words. Let's test them. A pause. We're done with this. Pull your men back or I burn the whole building with everyone inside. Jin-woo looked around. His men were trapped. The building was surrounded. What do you want? The money, the evidence, your cooperation. You have 72 hours. Bring us what we want or we kill everyone you love. Starting with that baby. The call ended. Jin-woo collapsed against the wall, bleeding, and for the first time in his life, truly afraid, because he had no idea where the money was, and 72 hours to find it or lose everything. Safe house that night. Zainab was waiting when Jin-woo stumbled through the door, covered in blood. Oh my God, not all mine, he winced. Most of it's not. You're shot. Twice. I've had worse. He let her guide him to a chair. Where's Ifei? Sleeping. What? They gave us 72 hours, he explained while she cleaned his wounds. If we don't find what your father stole, they'll kill all of us. I told you I don't know anything. Think. Anything he said. Weird gifts. Bank statements. Nothing. He cut me off after. She stopped. Wait. What? The necklace. She ran to her room, came back with a jewelry box. He sent this right before he sold me. Said it was my grandmother's. I never. She opened it. Gold necklace. Delicate pendant. Jin-woo examined it. The pendant was loose. Unscrewed it. A micro USB drive fell out. They stared at it. That son of a bitch, Zainab whispered. He hid it with me, made me carry it without knowing. Jin-woo plugged it into his laptop. Files opened, bank accounts, transaction records, video evidence, drug trafficking, political blackmail, murder, and account numbers for exactly $50 million. This is it, Jin-woo breathed. This is what they want, and what will destroy them if it goes public. So we give it to them. No. His eyes hardened. We use it. We turn them into Interpol, FBI, every agency, and we make sure they never threaten our family again. That's a death sentence. Let them come. Jin-woo took her face in his hands. I'm done running. I'm done letting threats control our lives. We end this. Together. Are you with me? Zainab looked at this man, bloody, broken, willing to burn the world for her and their daughter. Together, she said. 48 hours later, the meeting was at an abandoned warehouse in Incheon port. Jin-woo and Zainab arrived alone, or so it seemed. The Russian boss waited with 10 armed men. You have what we want. Jin-woo held up the USB drive. Everything. Money. Evidence. All of it. Good, give it here. No. Jin-woo smiled. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave Korea. Forget Zainab and her father existed, and never come near my family again. The Russian laughed. Or what? Or this. Jin-woo pressed the button. Every screen in the warehouse lit up. News broadcasts, international agencies, FBI, Interpol, all displaying the files. I uploaded everything 30 minutes ago, Jin-woo said calmly. Your operations, your accounts, your crimes, it's all public. Every agency in the world is hunting you. The Russian's face went purple. You. Kill me. And you gain nothing. The files are already out. But leave now. Run. And maybe you survive long enough to disappear. You've destroyed us. You threatened my daughter. Jin-woo's voice dropped to ice. I destroyed you because you made me choose between you and my family. You never stood a chance. The Russians raised their guns. Jin-woo raised his hand. Red laser dots appeared on every Russian's chest. Snipers. 20 of them. Hidden on every roof, in every shadow. Leave, Jin-woo said. Or die here. Your choice. The Russian boss stared at him for a long, tense moment, then lowered his gun. This isn't over. Yes, Jin-woo said, it is. They left. Jin-woo watched until they were gone, then finally let himself collapse. Zainab caught him. You did it. We did it. He pulled her close, buried his face in her neck. It's over. We're safe. Fei is safe. For the first time in a year, Zainab let herself believe it. 6 months later, Seoul gleamed under autumn sun. She's walking! Jin-woo looked up from his laptop to see Fei, 10 months old now, taking wobbly steps across the living room toward Zainab. Both rushed to her, catching her before she fell, laughing as she giggled with delight. Our genius daughter, Zainab said, kissing Fei's forehead. Gets it from her mother, Jin-woo said, and her stubbornness from her father. They smiled at each other over their daughter's head. 6 months since the Russians fled. 6 months of rebuilding, of therapy, of slowly, carefully learning to trust again. Jin-woo had stepped down from the family business, handed it to a cousin, liquidated his criminal holdings, invested everything in legitimate companies. Zainab had gone back to school, finished her PhD, started consulting for international human rights organizations. They weren't married anymore. The divorce was still final, but they were living together. Co-parenting, falling in love again, slower this time, healthier. Jin-woo, Zainab said that night after Fei was asleep, both on the couch with tea. I need to tell you something. His heart stopped. What? I forgive you. The words hung in the air. What? He whispered. I forgive you for everything, for rejecting me, throwing me away, for all of it. Tears filled her eyes. You've spent every day for 9 months proving you changed. You protected us. You chose us over everything. And I'm tired of holding on to the pain, so I'm letting it go. Jin-woo couldn't speak, just pulled her close and held on like she might disappear. I love you, he finally said. I never stopped. I never will. I know. She pulled back, looked at him with those eyes that saw through all his walls. So ask me. Ask you what? You know what? Jin-woo's heart hammered. He slid off the couch, onto one knee, pulled out the ring he'd been carrying for 3 months. Zainab Ojora, will you marry me? Again. For real this time. Not because of debt or obligation, but because I love you. Because you're the strongest, most incredible woman I've ever met. Because I want to spend the rest of my life earning your love every single day. Zainab smiled through her tears. Yes, yes, you stubborn, broken, beautiful man. Yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, a Nigerian design, gold with sapphires, nothing like the cold diamond from their first marriage. They kissed. Soft, sweet, like a promise finally kept. Mama, Dada! They turned to see Ife standing in her crib, hands reaching for them. Both rushed to her, pulled her between them, a family reunited. I love you both, Jin-woo whispered, more than I knew was possible. We love you too, Zainab said, all your broken pieces and all. And in that moment, surrounded by the people he'd almost lost forever, Kang Jin-woo finally understood. Redemption wasn't about being perfect. It was about showing up. Every day. Even when you didn't deserve it. Especially then. 3 months later, they stood before family and friends in a small ceremony overlooking the Han River. The same river that had once represented death and loss, now representing renewal. Zainab wore traditional Yoruba aso-oke fabric in deep blue and gold. Jin-woo wore a matching agbada over his suit, honoring her culture as she'd honored his. Ife sat in the front row with Mrs. Park, clapping her tiny hands. I, Kang Jin-woo, take you, Zainab Ojora, to be my wife, he said, his voice steady despite the tears in his eyes. Not because a contract says I must, not because debt demands it, but because you are the bravest, most beautiful soul I've ever known. You survived my worst. You gave me a daughter when I didn't deserve either of you. You taught me that love isn't about ownership. It's about choice. And every day for the rest of my life, I choose you. Zainab's tears fell freely. I, Zainab Ojora, take you, Kang Jin-woo, to be my husband. You broke me, but you also put me back together, piece by piece, day by day. You showed me that people can change, that redemption is real, that love can survive even the worst betrayals if both people are willing to fight for it. You gave me Ife. You gave me hope. You gave me a future I thought I'd lost. So yes, I choose you too, every day, forever. They exchanged rings, simple bands engraved with Ife in both Yoruba and Korean. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant said. Again, but this time, for all the right reasons. Jin-woo kissed his wife like he was breathing for the first time. The guests erupted in applause. Ife squealed and reached for her parents. They scooped her up together, holding her between them, and Jin-woo realized something. This was the family he'd destroyed a year ago. And this was the family he'd spent every day since rebuilding. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed. But some things, once broken, become stronger in the mending. At the reception, Choi approached Jin-woo. Boss, sorry, Mr. Kang, there's someone here to see you. Jin-woo tensed. Who? Says she's Zainab's mother. Jin-woo found Zainab talking with guests and pulled her aside. Your mother is here. Zainab's face went pale. What? I didn't invite her. Do you want me to? No. Zainab's jaw set. I'll handle this. They found her outside, a woman in her 50s wearing traditional Yoruba dress, looking nervous and ashamed. Zainab, she said, her Yoruba accent thick. My daughter. You have no right to be here, Zainab said coldly. You knew what Baba was planning. You let him sell me. I didn't know he would I thought he was joking. Her mother's voice broke. I tried to stop him, but he wouldn't listen. And then you were already gone. And I'm so sorry, me. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back the year I lost, Zainab said. Sorry doesn't erase what I went through. I know. Her mother was crying now. I know I failed you. But I'm here now. I want to know my granddaughter. I want to try to make amends. Zainab looked at this woman who'd failed her when she needed her most. Then she felt Jin-woo's hand in hers, felt his quiet support. Her name is Ife, Zainab said finally. It means love, because love is the only thing that survived all of this. She took a breath. You can meet her, but you have to earn your place in her life, just like he did. She gestured to Jin-woo. Prove you've changed. Prove you deserve to be her grandmother. And maybe, we can start to heal. Her mother nodded, tears streaming. Thank you, Amami. Later, as the sun set over Seoul, Jin-woo and Zainab stood on the balcony of their reception venue, Ife asleep in Jin-woo's arms. Do you regret it? Jin-woo asked quietly. Giving me a second chance? Every day, Zainab said, then smiled at his stricken expression. I'm joking. No, I don't regret it. You earned it. I'll keep earning it. I know. She leaned into him, careful not to wake Ife. That's why I said yes. They stood there in silence, watching Seoul's lights flicker to life, their daughter breathing softly between them. Jin-woo, thank you. For what? For not giving up. For fighting for us. For becoming the man I always knew you could be. Thank you for letting me. He kissed her temple, for giving me a chance I didn't deserve. We're even then. No. Jin-woo looked down at Ife, then at Zainab. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to even the scales, and I'll still come up short. Then I guess you'll have to keep trying. I will. Every single day. As night fell over Seoul, the city that had witnessed their destruction and their rebuilding, Kang Jin-woo held his family close and made a silent promise. Never again would he let fear make him weak. Never again would he throw away something precious because he was too damaged to recognize its value. Never again would he choose pride over love, because some lessons can only be learned through loss, and some loves can only be proven through redemption. This was their story. Broken, painful, real. He destroyed her, spent a year fixing himself, and earned his family back one day at a time. Not because love conquers all, but because love, real love, demands you conquer yourself first. This was their story. A father who learned too late, a mother who survived too much, and a daughter who became the bridge between their broken pieces. If this moved you, if you felt every moment of their pain and their healing, then you understand. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about choosing each other even when it's hard, especially then. Drop a comment. Did he deserve forgiveness? Would you have given him a second chance? What story should I tell next? Hit that like button if you believe in redemption. Subscribe if you believe broken people can become whole again. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to change. Until next time, stay dangerous, stay beautiful, and remember, the best love stories aren't about people who never break each other. They're about people who break each other and then spend the rest of their lives proving their worth putting back together. See you in the next story.